It did not be out of pocket. Nah, it's all good. It's all good. So you know how they say when you pay it forward, it comes back to you, right? So we had a liquor cabinet, um, had a few items in there, and we really hadn't touched them since, uh, really since our daughter was born. I mean, this has been going on a year, and so my wife got invited out with a friend from work and some other friends, and she decided to go out Friday, and so they went to eat, and then afterwards, they were just going to hang out, and they were like, we'll go to the liquor store, buy some liquor, and my wife was like, "We got all this stuff at the house that we haven't uh touched in months, so I just run to the house and y'all can have it, right? You don't have to go spend your money on it. You have it." That was last Friday, so we went from, you know, cabinet of some stuff to empty cabinet. I just pulled it all out, right? 100% empty. Fast forward a week, we have our couples game night, and everybody's just bringing bottles of just like rums and
Hmm.
vodkas and tequilas and champagnes and wines and et cetera, et cetera. And nobody wants to take their stuff home.
You gotta leave it.
And hardly any ever gets open. So our liquor cabinet is now 3 times as full as it was
Hey,
before
amen. Look at
you
that.
gave him. Listen,
Hey, look
listen,
at
man.
God.
So you
Listen,
better
man.
listen.
Listen, man.
Not to trivialize him, but
Oh
the
man, I ain't
lessons are the
trying to.
lessons. All
Listen,
right, the lessons are the
listen, man.
lessons.
I think the definition of greatness is to inspire the people next to you. It's not something that lives and dies with one person. It's how can you inspire a person to then in turn inspire another person that then inspires another person. And that's how you create something that I think lasts forever. And I think that's our challenge as people, is to figure out how our story can impact others and motivate them in a way to create their own greatness.
Welcome to the Welcome to the 3 on 3 podcast. I'm your guy Hans here with my main man Ev. What's going on, Ev?
I am very, very happy to be here. I want you to know.
Awesome, awesome. I love your commitment to it, man. You keep it there until it comes up. Listen, you're committed. I love it. That's that Nick's persistence in you.
Absolutely, man.
Yes, sir. Here, not Lou, but stepping in the clutch, we have the pod Mamba himself suiting up, coming off the bench. He's no longer coaching, guys. He is playing. He is playing like the Celtics great. You see what I did there? The Celtics great. Bill
Let me tell you
Russell
something.
himself being a coach slash player. Christian Gonzalez, how are you doing today, sir?
That's the
Welcome.
most disgusting analogy I've ever heard. The most those are fighting words,
I
Hans.
couldn't think of a Laker who coached and played at the same time. I'm sorry, you guys
Oh,
didn't do that.
no, we didn't. We
Listen,
were
listen, Christian. Listen. When we show up at the court, right?
Mhm.
Just because we showed up with four and they was playing 3 on 3, don't mean that my boy that hasn't got on the court yet can't ball on y'all too. Christian come with his shoes ready to go, laced up. So
Yes, sir.
excited to have you
His
on the court today, man.
Me and my
with his
Shacks.
Kobe's on.
Oh yeah, my
Nah, you got
Kobe's.
your Kobe's. You
Which
got
one?
your
Those
Kobe's.
kamikaze shacks?
Yeah,
Which
my
one you
Shacks
got?
from the Shacks from Payless.
Hey, it's all right.
Oh man, man! Thank you for joining us on air, Christian. We appreciate you
I
stepping
had
in
to. I
the
had to step in,
clutch.
man. Lou threw us a
Yeah,
curveball.
man. Lou had to
You know
step out,
that,
but he'll
that basketball
be.
term, curveball. You know,
Call it,
I
call
see.
it
Yeah, I see
five.
what you
Call
did
it
there.
five from Houston. We lost him. We lost him.
That's what it
you,
is,
you got
man.
lost somewhere.
I'm doing
He'll
my
be
boy
back.
now.
He'll be back. He'll be back next week,
We
and
love
you
you,
guys
Lou.
can go at it. Yes, sir. Get better. Get back. All right, y'all. Let's get right into it. Let's start first. You guys got your brooms ready? You got your brooms? We see we weren't prepared. We weren't prepared. Listen, man. I got my Swiffer ready. Yeah. I'm sweeping here. Y'all not ready? No, you guys weren't ready.
A little spring
No.
cleaning. Time to get a little spring cleaning on.
I'm only paying attention to the Lakers series, so I don't know if anyone else is in position for a sweep. I just know the Lakers aren't getting swept.
Oh, that's all that matters, right? That the Lakers are not getting swept.
Yeah, we can
but
talk
the
about
gentlemen
3-1
swept
series
it.
at any point that you want to, Christian. I'm here for you tonight.
Well, as we record, because the game's is going on as we're recording right now. Thank you, Evan, by the way, for having to start so late, so that we have to record while I'm watching the game. Now I have to do double duty.
I love it.
I can't put my focus on this episode because I gotta watch the Lakers try to compete for their life right now.
We need that. We need that energy, though. We need to see what Laker fandom looks like in real time. Give us a peek behind a window of the allure of this fandom that everybody's loving and fighting over for. So, yes, any outbursts are welcome.
Do I be professional or do I be a fan that just not even paid attention to you guys? Do I be a good producer or do I just don't care and I just, would rather watch this?
Be yourself.
If you go segments without talking, we'll carry you. We got you. Only thing we'll say is, it's like watching a movie that you already know the ending, but enjoy it though.
You mean the Titanic doesn't go back to the port?
You're talking Titanic. You're talking the Clippers' new logo, right?
I'm just like one of those musicians on a Titanic, just with the violin. We're going down with the shit, baby. We're not gonna.
This is what we're doing today, y'all.
Listen,
yeah,
man,
both of y'all woke up and chose violence today.
I'm gonna give it and take it. I take a shot. I give a shot.
I'm like that Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle
speaking of shot.
I am a hater. I am buck nasty, and I'm always gonna come in hating. Always.
Wow. I love it. Be your authentic self, Christian. Let's talk about these sweeps,
man. Let's go, man.
Let's talk about these sweeps, man. The Minnesota Timberwolves, they got that dog in them. They for real. Baby Jordan came out and said, "Look, y'all stop playing with me. I'm putting y'all to bed." Knocked out the Phoenix Suns with their big three: Booker, Bradley, and KD.
Not big four.
And who's that? Nurkic?
You're like, dude, Nurkic at big four is the defensive.
I say Grayson Allen or Josh Okogie. Which one?
All right. Grayson Allen was number 1 3-point percentage this year, so
not in the playoffs.
I don't know. He got hurt. Ankles, man. Ankles, injuries. That's what we really need to be talking about, these injuries. What's going on? We'll get there eventually. But in stunning fashion, though, Minnesota put everybody on hush mode who doubted them and doubted the legitimacy of their team and sent the Phoenix Suns fishing, man. I don't even know if there's good fishing out there in Phoenix. I've never been to Arizona. I know you're well-traveled. Is there any good fishing over there?
I don't know about fishing. I know it's hot. And it's probably good that sent them home before June because it gets sweltering out there in June timeframe. Okay. So it kind of did them a favor.
Got you. Okay, well, I'll start with you. With the high expectations that somebody had earlier in the season, I'm talking about you, Ev, in regards to this team and where they would go and where they're projected to go. What is your level of disappointment in regards to this sweep that happened to the Phoenix Suns?
I have to say it's a 9. And the reason being is this team, you had Kevin Durant, Devin Booker, and Bradley Beal. And I'm going to be honest with you. I am probably lucky that our co-host Lou isn't here tonight because the amount of Devin Booker scoring I would hear from him.
Listen.
Like, I don't know if I'd make it through the show. But it's somewhat deserved. And I think I came into it with a glass half full look at the Suns. I was like, you have these 3 quote unquote elite players. They have to make noise regardless of who's around them. But we saw obvious cracks in the armor of not having quality players outside of those 3, not having a true point guard, which in my opinion is what really crushed them because there was so much my turn, your turn basketball and everything turned into just difficult shots. my glass half full perspective of them was that you have three elite mid-range shooters in this series. You'll be able to mitigate Minnesota's ability to limit your success at the basket. What it turned into, though, is that every single shot that the Phoenix Suns had was a difficult shot.
Yes, sir.
And then Bradley Beal. I mean, come on, we gotta laugh at him, man. He deserves to be laughed at. 9 points in the deciding game.
Mm-hmm.
After you give a quote like, "I've never been swept in my life. I'm not gonna be swept." I mean, when's the last time you made the playoffs to be swept, sir?
That's what I was trying to figure out. I was like, what are you talking about?
Listen, it was just a weird quote. And what's funny is, I don't know if y'all saw it, but before game 3, he was coming on the court and the cameras caught him laughing at somebody as they were walking out of the court towards the tip. And honestly, at that point, I said, oh, this team's done for, because he didn't have the mindset to be in this series. The story comes out from The Athletic, like within hours of the season of the Suns losing, saying that Kevin Durant had displeasure, didn't like his role in the offense during the season, harking back to rumors that we heard in December when that story first came out. So they were already trying to put the blame at the feet of the coach, Frank Vogel. Frank Vogel, in his briefing, his press conference after the game last night, goes, the fans should be disappointed because I'm disappointed too, right? In a way, low key putting his disappointment back on the players. So I mean, this thing's a mess, man. It's a mess. It's unfortunate. Saw no fight out there from the Phoenix Suns, and yeah, I gotta own that I picked them to come out of the West, but KD, we even talked about that a couple weeks ago, wasn't quite the same KD. He wasn't the 50 piece when you needed KD. And I don't know where this team goes from here, based on what we saw, but
They
definitely
don't go anywhere. They're strapped up.
They need
They're
to
in
trade one of those
jail
guys.
contract wise.
They need to trade one of those guys.
They can only trade KD and Booker. They're not doing that.
They're gonna have to. You can't trade Beal. His contract is done.
Yeah,
Like, his
that's what I'm
contract
saying.
is
Like,
bad.
Bills is bad. You're not, and KD and Booker are like your franchise players. You can't. You're not going to get much for Nurkic. His value on the market isn't great, given that he's injury prone. I know he played great here, but if you look at it, you're not going to get much back. Grayson Allen, Aaron Gordon, what are you going to get? Like, they're similar to Golden State. You know how we talked about towards the end of the season in terms of who they need to move and what can they move. They're in contract hell. They only have a good pick this coming up draft.
But that's what I mean.
Then,
Evan, like they don't have any assets. All they have are those three guys. They need to get rid of one of them because once again, we've seen 3 all-stars don't work. They need depth. So they need to trade one of those guys, regardless if they win the trade or not. They need to trade one of those guys for depth and for picks because they can't keep doing this.
Since you're bringing it up, who would you trade, Christian? Who do you trade out of those 3?
Well, I heard a rumor today that KD's kind of been looking at the Clippers. I mean, how much help do the Clippers need, man? How much help do they need? Anyways, that's my Clipper hate for now.
For now, I was about to say for the next 2 minutes.
That was more of a Clipper hate than the Suns thing. But no, but for real,
another rumor out there.
For real, I think you have to trade. I think they have to trade KD. They're gonna have to. They're not gonna trade Book because that's their franchise guy. I mean, they should trade Book. I think that's the guy you actually should trade. But they're gonna have to trade KD if they want any sort of resemblance of competitiveness on that team, because they don't have the bench and they won't be able to get the bench in free agency because of how bad their cap situation is and how much they're over the cap apron, the new cap apron, where if you're over, I think 175 million or something like that in cap room, you're kind of screwed.
In hell, yeah.
Yeah, you get
So
repeater tax, you get all that stuff. So
what if they get a low rent point guard, right? As I've mentioned before, they're missing that floor general, somebody to lead them, pace them out. What if they luck up on a low rent point guard with an expiring deal? Does that give
Chris
them a
Paul?
little time to? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like I put it in the chat. Does that give them time to wade water, or is it just a done deal?
The problem with that is that when your two of your three best players are already guards and not big guards at that, right? So you bring in a point guard. Now one of them is gonna have to play the three. You're shifting KD to four. So they honestly, it was just a bad gamble for going for Bradley Beal. They gave up too much to begin with for KD because KD didn't want to drawn out sweepstakes for him. He named where he wanted to go. He didn't want to go anywhere else. They didn't have to give up that much for KD. This is textbook new owner syndrome. I see these names, they're rated high on 2K. I want them, right? And yeah, I mean they've it's really depressing. Booker would net them the most value in a trade. He's the one, I agree, you have to try the hardest to keep, but he's also the one that's been there the longest, and I could see getting frustrated with the situation. The room, the rumor. I'm gonna just say it just because I saw
Say
it.
it. Say it.
I don't.
Start something.
I know Stephen A.
We need
Smith.
clips. We need clips. We need
I know
clicks and
Stephen A.
views.
Smith. I got you. You know, he says things, and you got to take them with a grain of salt. But his rumor that he put out today is that he's hearing rumblings that if Devin Booker asked out of Phoenix, he would want to go to the Knicks. But that's just what I heard. That's just what I heard. That's where he would want to go if he left. So take the Knicks part out of that because we're very selective with who we bring in.
Brunson for Booker? Who says no?
Chill out, my G. Chill out.
Brunson and OG for Booker.
Hey,
stop this.
I kind of like that.
It's Brunson and OG with Booker. I feel you. I tell you who we're trading for.
Booker and Julius. They could lead the Knicks for the next decade.
We don't need Booker. We got another guy coming. Just give me 15 minutes, okay? We got another guy coming.
Evan Fournier.
Evan Fournier. I mean, if he's looking for a coaching role, advisor role after his playing days, we'll see.
I mean, Allen Houston's still on the staff, so.
But all this about Phoenix, but we kind of got to give it up for Minnesota, don't we?
100%.
I mean,
I'm gonna say it now. This may be controversial, but I'm gonna say it. Anthony Edwards is the third generation of Kobe and MJ. He's the guy. He's the next one.
Yeah.
Of the same type of player. He reminds 100%. Me so much of both of them.
No, I second that.
And we've so many people, so many people have always said Tatum's the next heir to Kobe, Devin Booker's the next heir to Kobe, Kawhi, Paul George, who else was mentioned? Who's
Harold
the
Miner? I mean, all of them, man, all of them.
Anyways,
really?
But I'm officially, as of now, on April 29, 2024, Anthony Edwards is the next MJ Kobe guy.
Nah, this dude has that dog, man. He is. I hate to use that cliche term, but when you see it, you know it. Like, this dude is fearless. He goes at everybody.
But
and what I also love is
too, like the way he balls everything. I mean,
the way he dribbles it on his hip, right? It's that
dribbles, the way he crosses,
hip dribble,
the way he shoots it, the way his form is, like all that stuff reminds me of them. The way he yams on KD. Can we talk about that yam on KD?
Yeah, that's why I put that emoji in the chat. I was like,
did you see what I put on Twitter? I was like, hey, Anthony Edwards is over here looking like Kobe dunking on Steve Nash against the Suns.
Yeah, listen.
And it's the fact that he went at him the entire series. Like, he took it personal when they switched KD on him. Like, y'all think this is the strategy? Here's 2 threes to your face, Kevin. And I'm going to yell all the way down the court with it while I tell you about it. right? You talk about the Jordan Kobe comparison. The defense has been caring about that. Game 2, he struggled. What do you get? Clutch blocks, the blocks out of bounds, right? When your team needs a spark. I saw the clip of him dapping up the ref after he got that block, right? It's the care, it's the want to, to come out and say, listen, I'm trying to kill these guys. I told y'all last time I talked to y'all, I'm coming to kill. And then to back it up, to go into Phoenix, 36 in game 3, 40 in game 4, to close out for a team that hasn't done this in what, 20 years, right?
Since KG, yeah.
Exactly. To come in and say, we're not going back to Minnesota. We ending this tonight, and then take the heart from the team. We've talked about it before. When Anthony Edwards arrived on this team, there was no more question about who the alpha was there. Everybody else has gotten in line. And you got to respect that.
But what was the one thing about Anthony Edwards that everyone kind of was like, if once he shores this up, it's like he's going to be that next level, was his commitment to defense. I mean, we all saw that he was a great offensive player, right, Hans? I mean,
that's
could
what
see
stood
it.
out first.
You could see it in his rookie year. It's just whether he's gonna, get to that next level on defense to where he's like help like that help defense that Evan was talking about, the blocks, the steals, all that stuff. Though, can he guard someone one-on-one? Is he able to clamp down on the guy on the guy that he's supposed to defend? I mean, he answered a lot of those question marks against Phoenix this year.
Yeah, and for me, that what he answered for me was his ability to make timely decisions in the game that won't hurt his team. So, like Ev was saying, the sign of a great player is one that can still make an impact on the game, even when you're not scoring. And he showed that. He made timely decisions. He gave it to people who were hot. At the end of the day, he was confident in his team and in his role and secure in that, meaning I don't got nothing to prove. I'm that guy. I'm that guy. We need to win this. That to me was the maturity that I'm looking for in the next level. So he wasn't just all about getting buckets, which is what some of these pseudo heirs are about, right? You think about a Booker and et cetera, they're all about getting buckets. No, the game is much more about that, right? If you talk about who he's the heir to, Kobe, Jordan, they got timely stops. When the offensive game was going, they impacted the game in other ways to make sure that the momentum was still going. And that's what I appreciate about him. And also, yeah, I know I'm not a big fan of his. Shout out to Cat. Shout out to Cat for understanding his role and his position and not making a fuss and understanding that, you know what, at the end of the day, if I want this team to be successful, I need to be in this role. Take a back seat, let this young man, give him the keys. Shout out to him because that takes a lot of maturity. At the end of the day, he has the stats, right, to say otherwise. If we're honest, he has the stats to say otherwise. But he understood and saw what we're seeing and what everybody's seeing. And I got to give that man credit. As much as I'm not a big fan of him because I feel like he's he's very much arrogant. I got to give him his props on that for taking the back seat. Because if he doesn't, Minnesota's not where they're at. Right.
I mean,
now.
how many years was Cat going to go through saying that he was the number one guy and just completely just fall short every single year, and then finally see a true number one guy? Like he, at some point, he has to be, he has to have that self-awareness and that, he probably talked to his therapist or whatever, and the therapist probably told him like, look, Cat, you're not that guy. You're not that guy. I've seen your games. Ant Edwards is the guy. And he finally
needed that.
Guys, I need to pull back the reins, let Ant handle it because Ant is the guy. He's the number one guy in Minnesota. And everyone knows it now.
That's 100%. He didn't fall victim to
and gave him credit. And said Cat was the key to winning the series.
What a great leader, giving his role player credit.
Exactly. His 6-man credit. All right, so shout out to Minnesota. I'll say this. I think they're going to be good competition for Denver. but we'll get there.
They
hold
were good
on.
competition for Denver last year as well.
Hold on.
They played them
Yeah.
the best of any team in the playoffs.
Hold
and
on.
they're better
They're
this
not,
year.
the series isn't set yet. I don't know what you guys are talking about.
Oh, my bad.
You
My
said
bad.
As
what
we
you
record
said,
now,
Hines.
April
You said what
29th,
you said.
2024 at 7:50 p.m. Pacific time. The Lakers and Denver series is still ongoing, so I don't know what you're talking about. For all we know, by the time this episode drops, the Lakers could bring it back at 3-2. I mean, I don't.
Nice.
Who's to say?
Anything's
One
possible.
tiny
Isn't that what KD
suggestion.
said?
Why are
One
you
tiny
using a Boston
suggestion.
Celtics player's quote
Oh,
for
again,
Lakers?
my bad.
Unbelievable.
Sorry.
If you talk
No
to my
Laker ever said that.
If you talk to our producer this evening, could you tell him to just put the score of the game like every few minutes
Right there.
of this? Yeah, right in the box of the episode.
Like when we're talking about it, put it up. Boom.
Yeah, just put this-
Well, Evan, right now it's 41-34 Lakers. So
There you go. Okay, just call it out every few minutes.
6:30 left in the second.
I like
just
it.
let you know.
Shout out to you. Shout out to you. So since we're on this subject of gentlemen's sweeps, let's talk about it, bro. So we have, of course, the aforementioned Lakers going on. We have the Bucks and Pacers, and we also have Evs, Knicks, and Sixers, all on the cups
The
of
cheaters.
a
Cheating ass
gentleman's
Knicks.
sweep. OKC, the game is still going on right now, so that's why I am hesitant to mention it as a sweep or gentleman's sweep because we don't want to be too erroneous with our.
For them, you'll wait, but for the Lakers,
All
you're
right,
saying
come on,
Denver,
come on,
Denver,
man.
Minnesota. All right. Anyways,
I'm just saying.
New Orleans is not a serious basketball team.
It's not, but it's
So-
looking like that's going to be a sweep. Let's be honest. I
they're
think that's a
losing
sweep.
they're losing by 8 right now. 90 to
Yeah.
82, 26 left in the fourth. So I mean, I don't.
Yeah, that's a sweep. Let's call it. We're calling it here. You heard it here first. Actually, you didn't because by the time this airs, but this is definitely a sweep.
For podcast recording on Monday and not dropping till Wednesday.
Right.
New
You
Orleans
heard it here
Pelicans
first.
got swept.
Let's talk about that for a second. We'll leave room later. Let's talk about that for a second. I for one am gonna call for the people of our podcast and my co-hosts here to give New Orleans some grace. I'm calling for grace, y'all. And here's who I'm calling for grace for specifically, and I know Lou's not here, for Zion Williams. Okay? I'm gonna call grace for Zion Williams. Here's
Son?
why.
Williamson? Who's Zion
Williamson.
That new
Yeah,
guy
Williamson.
new guy? that
He's
they
new. He's
signed?
new. He's new.
10-day?
He dropped so much weight.
A G League guy,
Took the
yeah.
sun out. I think
It's called.
he finally, towards the end of the season, lived up to the expectations. And unfortunately, hampered by injury once again. But I think he should be given credit for living up and playing to the expectations which we saw Zion was capable of. If anything, we should be looking at those other two running mates of his, CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram, for not carrying the load for the rest of those games. Now, I'm not sure of their contract situations and what they got set up, but I think we should give them grace for this season. I don't think it's as bad. This sweep is not as bad as a look as the Phoenix one. So that's what I'm saying. I think we should give them some grace, y'all. What do y'all think?
Yes.
I
That's
would
what
just
I'm
want to
saying
know,
about
did the Pelicans win the trade yet?
This guy here.
I'm just trying to know.
This guy.
Did the Pelicans win the trade? Yes or no?
Well,
The trade between you guys
I
with
answer-
AD?
I
They
answer
lost
for it
AD.
this
What
way.
other trade did they have?
I answer for it this way. It depends on what they end up getting for Brandon Ingram in a trade because he's
Anyways.
gone this summer.
How long are we
Okay?
going to keep this going on for?
I'm just saying. I'm just.
It's
saying,
going to be
Brandon Ingram-
2042 and we're still gonna be like, oh, just hold on. Wait until the guy we traded Brandon Ingram for, we trade him again.
Well, no, I'm saying that in agreement with you though. But I'm saying it to say from what Hans is saying about giving grace. Zion can get grace. Zion is to New Orleans what Kawhi is to the Clippers, from the standpoint of both teams are going down We talked about the Titanic earlier. They're going down sinking with those two players. New Orleans can't get rid of Zion because he's the marquee for better for worse. The Clippers have already extended Kawhi. They're gonna continue to ride this be injured when it matters for another 4 years. I feel like it's two versions of the same story with them. So because New Orleans has to stay with Zion, Brandon Ingram, your time's about up. They don't coexist together. The team plays better when one of them is off the court. It just is what it is.
It's the Chicago story,
Yeah.
right? When you have
Yeah.
those two players who don't go well together.
Don't the Clippers play better without Kawhi though?
Yeah,
So it's not apples to apples. It's
it is. They don't always play better without
Yeah,
Kawhi.
they don't
know how to
always play
with
better.
him.
They don't
James
always play
Harden and
better
Paul
without
George
him.
looked pretty great yesterday.
Listen,
Well, they're doing it now because of the psychological. My opinion is it's the psychological toll of specifically another playoff where we can't depend on you, and so when they're playing free of worried about the Kawhi factor, they go out and do their thing. Now, granted, that may be anecdotal because we're playing off of the results of these first 4 games, but that's what it looks like between them.
no, I don't think it's very much anecdotal from somebody who's been watching them all season. You can see the difference in how the offense is moving. They have to cater and think about him offensively, just like they did in the other game when he was there and he barely did anything offensively. Now he did help out defensively, but you take him off the court, the offense is moving differently. It's flowing differently. Now, I still say the key to that though is James Harden, and he'll have his moments where I don't know if he's out of shape, or if he's disengaged, where he'll kind of walk it up, and then he'll have moments where he's like, "Oh, I got to be engaged. Let's go," and he'll get his pick and roll going. He'll get his floater going. He'll get his midi going. So I say that to say, I don't think it's so much anecdotal. I think it's more so adjustments that they're understanding. We have this Jekyll and Hyde of us. Okay, we have a Kawhi offense. We have a non-Kawhi offense, and I give all credit to Teron Lue, who knows how to make those adjustments on who to put in with who and how to move players in order to get the most out of that offense.
Must be nice, man. It really must be nice.
Hey, y'all, listen. Regardless of the results here, I still think this is Ham's last year. So you don't have much longer.
I hope
you don't have much longer, man. You don't have much longer. But I agree though with the Pelican situation. BI or even CJ, honestly, he's been inconsistent this.
He's gone to
postseason.
If
they gotta go, man. So we'll see where they go. But let's talk about these other potential sweeps we got going on here, guys. The Bucks, man. Damian Lillard could not play. Achilles. Giannis is still suffering with this calf strain. Bobby Portis got ejected out that game. Middleton left a little bit for his ankles. What is going on in this Pacers-Bucks series, guys? Like, what is happening? Are the Bucks about to be knocked out the first round?
They have bad luck, man. This is like last year. These first rounds, I don't know what it is. They just keep on getting these injuries. And, I'm going to tell you right now, without any team without their star player is not going to win anything. They're not. Facts. So, I mean, Giannis anchors that defense. He runs that offense, and without him, the Bucks aren't going to go anywhere. News are saying that he's going to come back with Dame for Game 5, and I hope so. I mean, there's nothing else to play for at this point. Is the elimination game. It's do or die. So if they don't get it together, I mean, it's going to be another early round knockout for the Bucks. And does Doc come back after that? I mean,
that's going to be my next question.
Is Doc coming back?
It's going to the Lakers, man.
Relax, dude. Relax.
Doc or Ham? Pick one, man. Doc or Ham, man.
None. I want either. Honestly, you know who I really want for? Sorry, we're deviating again, but you know who I really want for the Lakers head coach is Becky Hammond. I think it's time. It's time for her to move up. Come to the NBA.
I think you said that do that? They're earlier in the season too.
I've been on Becky Ham's. Yeah, I've been on Becky Ham. I think she's a good coach, and I mean either her or Rondo, I think Rondo could be a head coach, man. I really
He's going to
do.
Kentucky though. He's rumored to be going to Kentucky, right?
No, they hired
Wait,
someone else.
They hired someone else. Kentucky hired someone else.
Yeah,
I don't.
can't
I didn't
remember
hear
the
anything.
name.
I didn't hear anything about that. But I think Rondo is going to be a
different
great
coach.
coach in the future.
Yeah.
But Evan, do you think Doc sticks around for the Bucks, or do you think they get rid of him too and they just start fresh
So,
again?
so I
Did
looked
they
it
give
up.
a multi-year contract? Sorry.
He did. I was looking it up while you were talking.
Oh, okay.
4-year deal, 4-year, $40 million deal through
He's
26, 27.
He's staying. They're not gonna.
He
They just got rid of the other coach. They still have to pay like 2-3 years left.
They still
on
have to pay.
three
Yeah.
coaches, man.
They're gonna pay
Still
$7. Yeah, they're
still
not.
Adrian Griffin, still Doc Rivers, but you
Doc's
know,
getting 2 checks.
he is.
He's getting 2 checks. Sheesh,
Yeah.
3. ESPN
Listen,
if they still got a.
right.
Also, then Doc is just chilling, dude. He doesn't have to win anything. He just keeps collecting.
You can tell by this coaching job this year. He's just chilling.
He calls in for his home haircut, and he just sits there
Wow.
and tells the guys to play harder
Play hard.
and to keep the guys from shooting jumpers and stuff. I don't know.
Part of it's bad karma, man. Bad karma on the team. I don't want to put it as simply that, but I mean, you fire a coach with a winning record because you want your own vibe in there. Doc, I mean, unfortunate situation for him. I mean, he had to take the money, but let's be real. You're coming off of another flame out of a performance with the Sixers, right? And I mean, at this point, yeah, we keep repeating the story. He's good at culture and building culture and bringing players together. After a while, these players see your record, your impact, what you have and haven't done. So I think it was fool's gold to believe he was going to jump off a fired position and come into Milwaukee and then transform their culture. So I struggle to even really put it on Doc. It lands at the foot of the players. In this case, in my opinion. They came with the wrong mindset. I don't even know if Dame really, really wants to be there. And injuries have then befell them. So they need to go home and reset.
Come back home, man. Come back home, man. You just remodeled your new house in Portland, man. Come back home, man. Come back home.
Dame wants to be in Miami with all the baddies, man. He doesn't want to be
back to KD back to Golden State, man. Just let folks, redo bad decisions. That's all I'm saying.
Could you imagine?
Shout out to the Pacers, man. They're on the way. And shout out to the Thunder. They just swept the Pelicans. Good job. So,
I mean, Hans, do you think Glorilla wants to go to Milwaukee to be with Dame? No, she wants to be in Miami.
Yeah. Miami's more her vibe. It's more her vibe. Ain't too much going on in Milwaukee for Glow.
No.
To get it. You know what I'm saying? So
none.
We'll see. We'll see how it goes. But I will say this though. At the end of the day, somebody has to be held accountable for what's going on in that Milwaukee situation. I'm not too sure, which I know some stuff will leak out as time goes by, as to the direct catalyst of the Adrian Griffin firing. Just like we were talking about, Ev, about how certain players align themselves with certain coaches, even to their detriment. I'm wondering if this is going to be the same situation for Giannis. So you aligned yourself, right, with a certain coach to your detriment. At some point, I think the boundary has to be set. Like, there's coaching, there's players, and you have to trust what I'm doing here in the front office, right? Just understand I have this, et cetera, et cetera. We'll hear you out, we'll give you a space for your grievances to be heard, but you're going to have to trust me as a front office and as an organization. So, but Milwaukee is looking like a hot mess right now. And I hate a lot of it is due to injury. And if I'm them, if Giannis is not 100, don't risk it. That's your franchise player. You saw what happened with KD. You saw what happened with Klay Thompson. You don't want a blown out Achilles. That means next season is gone as well. Let him sit. If you lose this one, you lose this one. It is what it is. You feel me? It is what it is. Nobody's going to fault you for sitting your franchise player or both of them. So, but they said Dame's Achilles intact and everything like that. So he's more probable to come back than Giannis is. But
listen,
sit him if you need
Siakam is playing. Giannis and Dame don't want any of that. Tell them about it, Hans.
Yeah.
Tell them about your
No.
boy
Don't talk to me about
Pascal.
that spin top motherfucker.
So good pass though. Can we say this? Trade deadline. Who won? Indiana or Dallas?
Dallas, if J-Kid actually knew to play his centers.
So
I mean,
we'll
last
get
game
to
against
them in a second, but I got opinions on that too. I agree. Well, I'll save it until we get to them because we're talking about gentleman sweep, so we got to talk about a gentleman sweep.
Oh yeah, well, let's get to the real gentleman sweep that this man really want to get to because he's not gonna let me run past them at all, not for 1 second.
Nope.
The Knicks in Philadelphia, New York, because that's what it sounded like in that arena.
All right, Hans, I think we got to move on. We got to move on from
Got it. We got to move on. Time.
That's
We
it.
got to
That's
move
all
on
we
to the
had
next
for
subject.
that's all we had for the Knicks, man.
All right, that's all
Point
we had.
game at
Right?
halftime, right, Christian?
3-point game because Aaron Gordon
3-point
decides he wants to learn how to shoot a three.
Okay. All right.
All right. The New York Knicks went into Philly with the Villanova Knicks, and they put it down. And it was a close game, as it's been throughout the whole series. Tough fought, but the difference maker was on Jalen Brunson. Had it going offensively this game. He really was leading the charge. Every time you see the Sixers getting some type of momentum, Joel's doing something, Maxi's doing something, because that's all the Sixers really have, because nobody else is showing up. Jalen Brunson would go out here, give you a couple jab steps, up fakes, and hit you with a left-handed floater. We're getting the paint, would shoot timely threes. Josh Hart coming from the other end of the out of bounds, 94 feet away, soaring in to get a rebound. Because at this point, I don't understand. Everybody in the NBA knows to box out Josh Hart, except for the 76ers.
Josh Oakley.
Whatever.
Get his name right. Josh Oakley.
Clearly, Josh Wadman out here making timely plays, timely possessions, and really beating down the 76ers. Ev, on your side, the Knicks side, how jubilant are you guys feeling right now on this 3-1 lead? Even though all the games have been close, how
does it feel to cheat the Sixers, Evan?
So we're still waiting for justice for the Sacramento Kings and the Portland Trail Blazers from the beginning of the 2000s. From the Lakers transgression.
That NBA commissioner is not here anymore, sir.
Let's get away from
There's
cheating.
nothing we could do about
Let's
that.
get away from
The
cheating.
statute of limitations has passed.
Honest basketball, okay?
The statute of limitations has passed, sir.
Because he passed away? That's how
Because he passed away, yeah. Once the commissioner leaves, that's it, man.
God, you can't enforce it, huh?
So to answer your question, Hans, jubilation will come when we close out this series. Still got work to do. But what I will say is it's not the size of the dog in the fight. It's the size of the fight in the dog.
I thought you were going somewhere else with that one. I'm not going to lie.
And
I got scared a little bit.
Knicks, don't worry, I got you. The New York Knicks, the fight and the tenacity that they brought to this series. Tom Thibodeau hasn't smiled this much in his entire life. Okay. To see the defensive effort that he's seeing out there. Embiid's my guy, right? So I mean, it's easy for me to root against him at this point, but at the same time, to see him get discombobulated by the Knicks waiting for the right time to send the trap that has plagued him his entire career, right?
Can't pass out of that.
To mitigate the Maxey and B 2-man action on the short side and hold them to 10 straight missed field goals, right, to close out a game. To know that on the other side they're having to pass to Kyle Lowry and Nicholas Batum, and it's not happening. To see the fight of OG Anunoby, who might be outweighed by 80 pounds and 6 inches on Joel Embiid, and just the heart to keep the ball
Get to the
Christian's
point,
over
man.
it,
man.
Get to the
Listen.
fucking point.
Listen. It's all the point. It's all the point. But you want to know what the point really is, though?
Mhm.
And 10,000 Knicks fans came to Philadelphia over the course of the last 72 hours to share this point. Joel Embiid, you fought the good fight in Philly.
Don't
Come
fucking
to a
say
real
it.
city, okay? Come to a real
Wow.
city, Joe. You heard
Joel
it.
for Randall. Who says no?
You heard it. Listen.
He can't, Evan. He can't. Because
You heard
Tom
him.
Thibodeau is going to play him 48 minutes.
Oh yeah,
and
that
his
ain't
body
happening.
can't
won't.
handle it.
He won't. We got
He
Black
will.
Isaiah and we got no layup Achua, okay?
Don't
We
make
got
me go to the
minutes.
box score. Let me go see how many
We
minutes
got
your
minutes
guys
to
played.
spell. Oh, listen.
Nah. You know what I feel sorry for though is
OG Anunoby played 47 minutes. He barely had any time. The only rest he had was at halftime. Okay.
And the timeouts that we call
Josh Hart had
expertly,
46
okay?
minutes. Jalen Brunson had 44 minutes. He's running your guy. You guys are
Let
gonna
me
be
back
tired
up.
by the Western Conference Championship if you make it
Listen.
Let
there.
me back up. It's not the
Tibbs.
size of the dog in the fight.
listen.
It's the size of the fight in the dog.
You know why
It's
Tibbs
the
is
endurance
smiling,
of the
right?
dog.
Tibbs is smiling because he found his new Derrick Rose. That's what he's
No,
it's retribution for him.
he's
He's
smiling
like,
because
hey,
he's smiling because he's an evil man and he's enjoying playing his guys so many damn minutes. He's running them ragged. That's what he's doing. He's enjoying that. He's a sadist. Your head coach is a sadist. You understand that, right?
We have injuries to one of our best players. Our key offseason pickup got hurt within a minute of game 4. Our starting center that missed 3/4 of the season got hurt in game 3.
He's been hurt for
because
3
of-
years, man.
Well, I'm just saying, we're down 3 key rotation players. How
Yeah.
many people do you want us to play each game?
but you know what though? Given that you guys, I do think you're going to win this series. I don't think the Sixers. The Sixers, I think they can get one more win, but ultimately, I see the Knicks winning the series. What the Sixers don't have to bother the Knicks, 2 things: additional scoring, because Tobias is only scoring 9 to 8 points, and Buddy Hill's not even getting in the game, and they lack the athletic length to get on the boards to mitigate those second possessions that the Knicks have. Because the Knicks, they're Miami style, grind you, get it out the mud. You're not going to outwork the Knicks, right? They are known for that. That's the culture that Tibbs has, brought back to that. They're known for that now, right? The past couple of years, that hasn't been Knick basketball, but now it is. So what concerns me is with the Knicks is what happens when you guys do come up against that length. And it won't happen, though. It won't happen up until you meet the Celtics in the conference. Because Indiana, let's say Indiana wins against the Bucks. Indiana's not going to give you that issue. Indiana might outscore you. You get what I'm saying? That's what you got to do with Indiana. So I'm curious to see what you guys do with that. But nonetheless, man, shout out to your Knicks. Shout out to Jalen Brunson for showing up and fighting through all the cheap shots.
All time.
The cheap
all-time
shots.
playoff record. Most points scored in the playoffs in Knick history.
I give
Shout
no
out to
credit.
him, man.
I give no credit to a team whooping down on someone with a medical issue. That guy has Bell's palsy. You guys feel good about that? Beating him like that?
Yes. He scored 50 in game
Disgusting.
3.
These are New York Knicks fans, that people.
He said there's
I've been
no
showing you their
crying in
true
basketball
colors.
and baseball.
I mean, there is
The
definitely
orange.
crying. I don't know what you're talking about.
The orange and blue. Yes.
Bing
oh,
bong.
man. Bing. Oh, Ev. Random take. Sorry. How'd you feel about that dude getting thrown out for the fan making the comment at the baseball game, dog?
How about Aaron Boone?
Yeah, he got thrown out because the fan was the one who was talking to the umpire.
The umpire didn't want to admit that he was wrong, so he just stood his ground.
That's the
These
craziest
I
thing
think
I've seen, bro.
umpires. I mean, this is
Aaron
a bigger
Boone is
issue
leading.
in general. Umpires and even NBA refs have this this mentality of of trying to be authoritative in their situations, and they are just they're ejecting people. They gave Pat Bev a technical foul for doing the too
For the
small.
too short.
Like,
Yeah.
give me a break, dude. Like, we're not here to see you guys. We're here to see the players.
They gave Siakam a T for a stare down.
NBA refs back in the 80s used to tell players to shut the hell up. And now you have people like Tony Brothers over here saying, what player? There was a player that
Jeff Teague.
Jeff Teagues.
When his
He was
parents, his
saying
mama was there.
his mom was
mom and his niece.
Yeah, because he thought Tony Brothers thought he was nice like that with the players, and Jeff Teague was like, "Don't you fucking say that about my mother? What the hell is wrong with you?" These refs are wild. They think they're hot shit, and they don't do their job well enough to be hot shit.
Listen, 100%. And I didn't mean to derail us, but speaking on the refs, I said this in the chat that that Dallas Mavericks and Clippers game was officiated horribly officiated. But nonetheless, Clips got it out the win. Shout out to playoff P, James Harden, making things happen. Luka, he did his best, but I'm seeing sides of Luka that I don't like, even though he's my MVP vote for the year. But let's get to these 2-2 series, y'all. All right. The Cavs and Orlando Magic. I know it's not the most exciting series, so let's just get that out the way real quick. I'm pleasantly surprised at the Magic for putting up those 2 wins, given how strong the Cavs started out this series, and what Donovan was putting forth and reminding people of the caliber of player that he is. I think everybody feels the Cavs are the favorite to go out. Are you guys seeing anything differently? Do you believe this run made by Orlando, or is this just them getting their 2 win and they about to be Cancun?
I'm surprised the Magic even won 2 games, to be honest. I thought it was going to be a sweep. Just from the first game alone that I saw. So, I mean,
I don't believe in Cleveland at all. And
really?
Defense travels, and Orlando hit them in the mouth these last 2 games. So I don't have any confidence that Cleveland is going to pull out this series. Donovan's going to be Donovan, but Darius Garland hasn't looked like himself in a year and a half. Evan Mobley is, I would say, inconsistent offensively.
Very much so inconsistent.
Right? And so where is Donovan Mitchell's help?
Spencer, not Spencer. Karis LeVert hasn't been consistent as well. Yeah. So it's a tough go around.
So with the Magic, the challenge with them is that they don't have consistent enough offense, and we don't have to stay on them forever. But what they do have is excellent defense, and so I do think that they'll continue to give Cleveland fits in the series. If they can generate enough offense, I think they can pull out the series. And I think they would be a more dangerous round 2 opponent to, I'm assuming, the Celtics.
Yeah.
Cleveland would.
Really?
Yeah.
Orlando's more dangerous than Cleveland.
I think so.
Celtics did lose to Atlanta Hawks twice.
Orlando needs to rely on their defense, but how long as a young team, how long can that be sustainable for in the playoffs?
Just need Paolo to rise to the moment.
Because offensively, I don't trust him at all. If I'm going to trust anyone, this is why I trust Cleveland more than Orlando, because I just think, regardless of what you feel about Cleveland's role players playing right now, they still have that guy, Donovan Mitchell, who could take over games like nothing. So
I trust it for the others.
Who does Orlando have that does that?
France and Mo.
Paolo coming out party, man.
Franz shoots more than Paolo, though. Franz
had a horrible year shooting. But
Franz thinks he's the number 1A. He thinks he's the number 1, and it's Paolo. He needs to take a step back.
We got a cat. He needs to get some the same cat.
He needs to get some cat in him.
That's just how I feel as someone who had him in my fantasy league.
I give the edge to the Cavs because of the inconsistent players we talked about. Karis LeVert and Mobley. They're inconsistent, but that means they're due to pop, right? So I'm betting on them popping off offensively and pushing Cleveland through. I'd much rather see Cleveland than Orlando versus the Celtics. But moving on. How y'all feel about this Clippers Dallas, man? Clippers Dallas.
Luka needs to
Where
step
y'all at
up,
with it?
dude. Pissing me off.
He's a crybaby, bro. I'm sorry. I lost a lot of respect. I know I'm going on a lot of soapboxes today. This is my last one. I'm very much so disappointed in the amount of flopping and complaining I'm seeing from him. The
You're better than
turnaround,
that? Luka's been
huh?
doing that for years.
No, I am, but to the level though, like he's getting LeBron James level now. At the end of the day, the game's being officiated differently. Where have you been these past couple,
It's
this whole
different than
second half of the
LeBron,
season?
Hans. It's different than LeBron. I mean, LeBron complains a lot, but I think a lot of it's warranted because he does get slapped a lot, and the refs don't call it because he's stronger than everyone. Luka
No, you're
Luka has the free throw attempts. Like let's not joke around about that. I mean, Luka does get to the free throw line. LeBron hasn't had a consistent free throw attempts since he was in Cleveland.
Luca's usage rate is probably much higher than LeBron's, though.
Do you want me? I mean, do you want me to look that up while you guys talk?
You can. I mean, I say it from this standpoint. Luca's, it's that ball centric James Harden ish offensive strategy
mm-hmm.
where he has the ball, the whole time. He's either driving or kicking the whole time. So, I mean, I agree 100% with you. In his eyes, he's 240 pounds. Every time he gets into the paint, he probably feels somebody's making contact with him, right?
Right.
And so it's up to the ref when he's probably initiating as much contact as he's getting each time. You
Mm-hmm.
have to make that decision. Okay, is this incidental? Is this both of you all making the contact, or is it truly a foul? I think the issue with the game this past it was a Sunday, was that the last two games 2 and 3, were defensive slugfest to an extent, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think the refs coming down in game 4 tried to course correct. Like, all right, we got to get back some control of this series, and in doing so, they almost fouled everybody out. So you saw the adjustment at halftime to, okay, let's let them
I mean,
play
when did
some.
Kyrie have his fourth foul? I mean, that changes a lot of things.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So
100%.
By the way, Evan, sorry, Hans. LeBron had a 29.7 usage rate this year, and Luka had a 36.8. So almost 10% more.
Yeah.
So no, you're definitely right. I just want to see some consistency with this wrestling. But I am surprised though. Our one critique of Dallas was that at the end of the day, they need to do something on the defensive end, and this trade happened. So do you want to talk about it then? Who won the trade? Trade deadline. Indiana or Dallas?
I still think it's Dallas. I mean, their one thing that they always lacked was a center. They drafted they drafted Lively. He helped a lot, but they needed someone who was more NBA ready. He's still kind of raw. So they went to get Gafford. He was the best center available in the trade deadline. And Washington, they just give away their good players. So them getting Gafford it really helped them. I mean, they went on a different level after they got Gafford. But for J Kidd to not even play Gafford against the Clippers last game, when Zubac was just doing whatever he wanted, and they were getting offensive rebounds like nothing. I mean, they couldn't even protect the paint. James Harden was just driving the paint all he wanted, getting fouls. There's no resistance. So I can't stand when NBA coaches nowadays, especially these new age coaches, who think that going small is the way to go. You always need a big guy to clog that paint for your team.
Well, to J Kidd's credit, I don't know if you saw the first game, if you were hate watching or not, but Zubac was sunning Gafford for the first couple games, which is why
bad back.
He has a bad back. I didn't know that. So he was getting sunned by Zubac, which is why I think J Kidd did make that adjustment. But I think
so you put someone smaller than him? I mean, that doesn't make any sense.
No, what he needed to do, which I think he shored up, right, with the Kyrie pick and roll, is to bring Zubac out the paint, which is why they were getting those lobs behind, right? And I think that was his initial Well, I think that's how he course corrected that going small, because you can't just do it and still keep your same offensive rotations. You need to do that pick and roll with Kyrie or Luka to bring Zubac out the paint so you can get those lob threats. So I think that's when it started working for him, to his credit. But Zubac was sunning him real bad there in the paint. It was looking bad, making Zubac look like Shaq. It was bad. So, but
Make him look like Shaq.
he scored, I kid you not, like
No,
8
Zoo's
to
great.
10 points
Zoo
straight.
has a great post game. I mean, I'm not, because I haven't watched every single game of the Dallas Mavericks and Clippers. I mean, as much as I should, because I love to hate watch, but I believe you. I believe that Zubac was doing that. But I mean, but if you're getting sunned, if one of your centers is getting sunned by Zubac, I mean, the answer is not putting someone smaller than him to guard him. I mean, look at what Darvin was doing with Jokic. He was putting Rui at 5, and we were getting toasted. I mean, it only took 3 games for him to start finally putting Jackson Hayes on rotational minutes.
Listen, man.
By the way, AD just got hurt by these dirty ass Thug Nuggets. So
Thug Nuggets. That's what happened.
Thug Nuggets.
Was it an eye injury again?
I mean, they keep on pushing him, man. I mean, this is not football. This is basketball, man. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on that. It's a shame that that the episode is coming to an end right now. But as we leave
ground tackles,
guys, Lakers are up 56-50 in the third with 10:53 left. So
all right,
I'm gonna call it now. I'm gonna call my shot. Lakers bring it back to LA.
Wow. All right, guys. You guys heard it here. We'll see what that turns out to be. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. As always, switch to our YouTube channel for additional OT content. Thank you for tuning in. We'll see you guys next week.
What's up, guys, and thanks for listening. I want you to do 2 things for me right now. 1, give this episode a thumbs up, and 2, be sure to subscribe to our channel. You can also follow us on all the socials at the 3on3 Podcast and send us an email at the 3on3podcast@gmail.com. We appreciate you, and tune in next week.